Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly chart review. It is Saturday, August 27th, and as always, Forex first, followed by stocks. The videos will come out after each other. Okay, this one could be rather quick. I didn't really do a whole lot of deep dives. There's still some trade ideas that need to manifest. I wrote this about... No, I think this was last week that I popped this on here. And with the move that we had on Friday with the USD and stocks in general, it brought everything a little bit further down. So just further away from the entry point, right? Like there was a temporary entry that I had in here. It's still valid, right? It just kind of tickled the entry zone, just sat there for a little while. It almost, if it wasn't for that one bar, I mean, it was about a 99 pips in profit, and now it's sitting at 28 or so. And that's okay. You know, I mean, I'm still expecting to take an entry around that zone, so we'll wait for it to hit. And yeah, overall, that is AUD CAD. So just what I mentioned a few weeks ago as well. The dark blue is the market structure trade ideas. The light blue is my specific strategy. The green ones are completed trade ideas, and the red ones, I'll revisit that because I forgot why I marked it. So sorry about that, but anyway, let's move on, right? Aud Jpy, trade idea here. You know, I just quickly took a look, and there was a double top that formed. Where's the rejection zone? If we draw a horizontal line right off the peaks there, it's around this area. Okay, so as you see, it's very significant. It even happened once more in the past, and then that's all that we've really seen until maybe we'd be able to see a couple of years in the past. Oh, look at that right here. All right, so back in 2015, this was also very strong zone of interest before we got rejections, right? So it could very well be that we could be in this area and it'll start kind of peaking up a little bit before dropping. But judging where we are currently at right now, that we've already peaked once and we haven't broken through that structure, I believe that there will be a drop coming. So from here, I would say, I'm going to take off one of my other indicators actually. Okay, so from here I would say, you know, EMA shift on a 4 hour is great, but I think the 1 hour already happened. Okay, so let's say right where it's at right now, you know, 100 pip stop loss is a little bit too deep for my liking, but I know that this is going to be dropping. How far? Well, at least down to here, right? So is the trade even worth it as far as that's concerned? How deep do you think you're going to go, Aud Jpy? What do I see here? Yeah, maybe it's not even worth taking actually, unless there's a potential to take this as a tighter stop loss somewhere around here. Then no, I don't see it worthwhile. 100 pip stop loss for 180 pip gain or 200, it's just not worth it for me. Not even that, right? Like it was around here, so 140, so it's almost like a 1.5 to 1 ratio. That's not worth the time. But if it comes up to there, that's somewhere where I would consider an entry. So we'll hop onto the 4 hour, and if there's any pullback within Sunday, comes up there, this will be a nice short-term trade, a good 6 to 1 ratio approximately. AUD Nzd, this has just been climbing surprisingly. Not a fan of the pair anyway, so that's why I don't bother trading it. AUD USD, so every USD pair made very big moves on Friday. Okay. I believe that they will continue throughout the week. We might just be getting a little bit of consolidation first before that happens, but we'll have to take a look at that as it comes. So on the daily, I believe I marked something out here. Right, so here we are. This is where it's currently sitting. It had a rejection off that fib channel that I drew way back when. You can see how pertinent these channel lines actually are, right? Oh, excuse me. So where it's currently sitting right now, I'm expecting it to go that much, a little bit further down, I would say right here. 618 retracement and the green line kind of coincide in this area right there. Where it's at right now, that's a potential 527 maximum pips to gain. So as far as the trade idea is concerned, I would probably be looking at something like this. Maybe not exactly 100 pips. I'll see what the 4 hour and the 1 hour look like for EMA shifts. And where the green line is, I'd probably do it somewhere right there. It broke through. You can see right here, it very likely will do a retest. But overall, this would be my trade idea, maybe halfway through there. Okay, back to that. So yeah, I mean, it's 8.3 to 1. That's pretty decent. Hopefully that it does move in that direction. It's a 57 pip stop loss. Very reasonable. There is no news coming out for the USD in the next little while, so it could just continue on with its trajectory, right? We saw that the last pull-up was here. This is going down the same kind of pattern, I guess. You know, we have deep retracements. Oh, sorry, I'm going to be yawning tonight. All right, so yeah, that's the trade idea right now. It seems like a pretty decent entry. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Bitcoin, I drew up a trade idea, but it didn't even pull up that high. I was expecting it to come up at least here before dropping again. That didn't play out, so I just got rid of it. Cad Chf, this is a trade idea actually that I've had, but it's starting to pull back. And to be honest, I might just get out of this one. From what I've seen, I was projecting that it's going to hit off this zone again, but from what I see here, this candle pattern, as soon as markets open, I'm closing it off, right? So it's a small little win right there, like it's just barely a 1-to-1. But you know what? This is going to hit break even. I don't trust myself to be able to stay in this trade and actually hit TP, so I'm going to cut this one short and call it there, right? So it's going to be just, you know, a 1-to-1 almost, maybe a little bit more. Nothing too magical here, right? So I'm going to get rid of that one. A bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. And yeah, so it's just not going to hit off that line there. That's kind of gone and done. What I would do, though, is throughout the week, I would be keeping an eye on my strategy for sells, just because this has had a momentum shift in the last few days. You know, it kind of pulled up a little bit for 2 weeks or so, and now it's going to start dropping off again. Maybe not. It's hard to say, right? Cad should be much stronger than CHF, but CHF has been really bullish, even though it shouldn't be. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that trade. I don't feel comfortable staying in it. Cad Jpy, it's just been zigzagging for the last few days, weeks I should say, right? Since the 19th, just been going almost sideways, right? When you see a tiny little incline there, but the MACD is going sideways and starting to droop down, even though that's climbing, good sign that this is going to shift momentum and start dropping as well. Okay, so as you can see, this is a very good sign to not trade this pair, right? You see in this area right here, signal lines are showing that it's going down. Histogram is showing that it's on the sell. Meanwhile, you have a massive divergence where this is still climbing slightly. Okay, so this divergence tells me that this is going to be a sell in the short term. So I'm going to avoid it for now just because I'm not really sure where to enter. Okay. I don't know why I'm going over that one anyway. Euro GBP. Okay. So third time that it's kind of hit the zone and dawdled in the stop loss area. Okay, so two things that I see. The first entry, that would have been pretty decent and went up halfway before pulling all the way back to entry again. So it went down almost 100 pips, 96 pips, right, from a total potential of 180. So it's not a huge trade by any means, but because the stop loss is low, it makes the risk to reward worth it. Okay, so what I see right now, I'm going to jump in on this entry one more time. And the reason being is because of this and this. Okay, so what I see here, if a double top like this is formed, and the most recent peak doesn't beat the previous peak, it's a good sign that this is just kind of stopping by before it continues off on a move. Okay, so one good way to tell will be that if I'm right in this instance and it does continue to drop, or hey, you know what, it'll keep going up. But the thing is, you can see how many times it popped to the 618, 1, 2, 3 times, and it doesn't want to go further. This is kind of telling me that even though it's starting to climb, it's not making newer lows. It's also not making a higher high in this instance. Okay, and you can see where the volume is drawn up. It's down here from this entire zone here, right? You could kind of see the faded box around, right? And that is the majority of the positions taking place here. So if we even grab it from this area to this area, right? Majority of is right there, and that's exactly where it's been a little volatile for. And now, as you see, it's not going higher than it did previously off that same volume line. Just making sure, there we go. Right, so it kind of goes hard through, tested a few times, breaks through it, now goes higher. So we could be seeing something similar like here. And again, this is going to be one of the ones where it should move quickly. If it doesn't drop off first thing on Sunday, then I'd probably stay out. Right, like safest bet right here is the EMA shift on the 1 hour, and currently it's just moving sideways over the last 5. So once that EMA shift happens, that would be a good potential entry. Very likely it'll be somewhere around there. Right, so might have to take a larger stop loss up to 45 pips or so. But when an EMA shift happens, I'll be comfortable just at the top of that last wick. Right, so that's what I'm aiming for. All right, where are we? Euro USD. So this was just a beautiful trade idea that I had. It just sucks. Like I've been saying ever since, middle of August, beginning of August, when well, no, sooner than that, actually. I was looking for this trade idea back in July, like when we had all this consolidation. I was waiting for it to come back to that zone. So here's a hard lesson learned, right? And it's not a bad lesson. This is just, everything was correct except the entry. The entry, I was off by 3.1 pips. It happens sometimes. But just to prove to you, this was a beautiful trade idea. Went all the way down 600 or 465 pips. But TP was met at 417, would have been a 7.7 to 1 ratio. And I mean, at that point in time, a stop loss could have been maybe 5 pips. Can you imagine? That's the risk to reward ratio, 60 to 1. It's a little too tight for my taste, but 7.7 was definitely worthwhile. So yeah, I'll get rid of that. I'll stop bragging about it. It's kind of over and done with. So there we go. I may have to go over videos just to show what what wins and losses there have been over the months that I've been doing this. Right, I know April was a very good month for wins. I think it was like almost 3,000 pips or so. May, not so much. It was maybe 1,000 and change. June, I think, was 1,900. July, I didn't even go over that one, but I didn't take a whole lot of trades in July. Typical summer, it's quiet, right? And then we're going to get into the very lucrative season for Forex. The worst time to trade Forex, from what I understand, was, or what I remember, was between October and December. Okay, so that may not have a lot of trade ideas, but once they come up, that would be a pretty decent idea to see. So yeah, I mean, for the meantime, this is kind of over and done with. Now let's see if I could have actually gotten into that trade, because where did I draw the box, right? If it was that entire candle wick, yeah, see, it would have been slightly off. If it's just where, you know, that gap is open, how close would that have been? Same thing. Yeah, so I mean, 50% is my entry zone. This was at like 48% of the candle. It just sucks, right? But it missed out on a very nice trade. I don't like jumping in halfway through, you know, I don't have the FOMO anymore anyway. So, I mean, as I couldn't take the entry at that point, I just kind of watched it and see if it would work out, and it did. It was a very nice trade. So there's that. That's over and done with. GBP CAD. It took a little while, but it worked out, right? From the beginning of August all the way to August 19th. So we're looking at 19 days worth of trading, being in this, 19 days worth of being in this trade. But yeah, it worked out very nicely. This was a close call, right? I mean, every time I see these giant parallel candles, that usually is a signal for me to exit. But unfortunately, it hit TP. Unfortunately for me, right? Because I got out too soon. And I mean, there was another chance to get in, but because this was moving sort of sideways, I didn't really want to take another entry halfway through the trade, right? So when I take the exit and it didn't actually hit break even, then it is what it is. But possibly what I'll do is I'll work out with my lot sizes. So I'll exit maybe 70% of the position, and then the 30% I'll let ride, you know, to TP or to break even, depending on where it's going to be. But just to show you how nicely it played out, like we're going to go from this peak down to the bottom that it played off, right? Look at this beautiful entry right there, 618. Right? It's just, Fibonacci's are a wonderful thing. So anyway, trade idea is over. I'm going to delete that, and right now I don't really see anything else that I could jump into here besides possibly looking for another sell entry. And judging with this wick, that could be a potential right here. Right? But I don't see that happening this week. I'll probably revisit that. Sorry. I'll probably revisit that next video, next week. Yeah. Gbp Usd, that's the other trade idea that I have. It came all the way down here, my fib channel line. It kind of rejected off there. So, you know, I'll probably end up taking this as soon as markets open. When what do I want to say, when the spread from the broker isn't as lucrative as it always is. But let's see, right? I mean, just judging when we had the double top there, that was the volume, that's where it hit off before, right? So this was the play. You can see where the volume is and where it wicked. Let me grab that red line, boom. So you see this, and it dropped lower, so that would have been a wonderful entry to take. Kind of early August. But now it's retracement time, right? So we are looking to take, let's see, so how often is this going to repeat? We have this one, that was the last highest point to the low. Look at that, perfect 618, aligning with the volume line. It's like the perfect trade. Okay, so that would have worked out very nicely. But now where it's sitting at, this is the new high. To the new low. Okay, 618 is right here. What does the volume have to tell us? Let's go from the entire area here. look at this. So this is what we got going on, okay? New volume zone, so this one is irrelevant. It got used, right? So I'll get rid of that fib. So this is what I see happening now. All right, potential move up even to there, right? Gbp Usd could have the potential to go up. My only concern with this is the massive move that the USD just had, right? So if I take a look at the DXY, look at this, right? Double top, kind of hit that area. It has the potential of going higher. You know, the dollar should be stabilizing soon. As you can see, it was going sideways this week. Oh, another yawn, sorry about that. But it did go up in value about $4 on the dollar, if that makes any sense. Okay. But yeah, GBP USD. If there's no crazy movements going on, I think there's going to be a nice move going this way. I'm going to wait for an EMA shift though, because this makes me a little bit nervous, right? Targets are great, but this is counter trend, right? So not necessarily saying that this is going to be the best time for an entry, but this on a sell would be even better, right? So the long-term play, I would say, would be something like that, right? Where the stop loss is super tight, maybe 25 pips, and we could take that down even further, right? So this could be another like trade of the year kind of thing. Maybe right there for now. So far, my best one was, I want to say in April. I think that was where I got the 33 to 1. I don't remember exactly, 32 to 1. Either way, this is kind of what I see in the short term. It's going to go down further than that, but yeah, that's what I can see happening. And then Nzd Jpy. Not a huge fan of NZD pairs like I've mentioned. However, this one hit TP, and this one's been kind of screwing with me. As you can see, it's just kind of zigzagging in that area and finally started dropping down. So again, right, this is why 60 pips is kind of that threshold, but my issue was that it was barely going to be a 3 to 1. So, you know, I wanted to make it a little tighter, made it a little bit too tight, assuming that it wasn't going to break these peaks, and it did, right? So I should have went off one that was slightly higher. That's okay. So stop loss hit of something like, what was it, 37 pips? Not the worst thing in the world, but it just sucks because stop loss is triggered just with that tiny little wick, and then it's sitting in profit right now, right? So this is a lost trade. I'm just going to delete that. I don't want to lie. Want to make sure that we get the trades exactly as they occur, not and not lie about them. Okay, and why did I mark U up, USD CHF? What did I do here? You see, I thought that this was going to drop once again, but it could be that it's just consolidating at a higher spot. So, yeah, this is not good. This didn't work out, you know. And this is why I say if there's many things that don't coincide, I don't take entries off of just one indicator. Okay. This would have been entry off an EMA shift if it worked out with the indicator. Okay, so that didn't really happen, did it? Not off that zone anyway. So yeah, this triple top is pretty much useless, right? That didn't play out how I thought it would have worked. The first trade essentially was very nice, 4 to 1. Could have taken a little bit deeper, you know, for a possible 5.5 to 1, but still 4 to 1 is great. All right, this trade idea didn't work out, and we can get rid of these guys. All right, so now from what I see, based on what the USD is doing, but it's not making new peaks, so it makes sense with the other assumptions that I had with GBP USD as well. If I see the same thing with USD CHF, right, if this starts dropping, it's not making newer highs off of that. It could go lower. Or this right here could be the start of the institutional candle, right off the 1 hour. It's kind of the perfect play. So let's see what the 30-minute looks like. Look at that right here. Boom. this tells me that it's a buy. So this is going to be a very nice entry. Let's take it right here at the red candle. Boom, 50%. Taking a long position around that area with a stop loss. Now we'll go right to the bottom of the wick just in case. But typically with these entries, you can make them tighter. 16 pips is really tight, right? So, I mean, you know what? I'm going to risk it this time. Let's go 18 pips just for fun. And I'm just going to take it up to this yellow line. So that's a 5.7 to 1. This could just resolve itself in one day, right? One strong move in a day, and that's all it's going to take. So, yeah, let's see how that happens. Very interested in that. So we're going to take that and turn it to blue now. All right. Now I'll jump in on U.S. oil because I'm starting to be more keen on switching over to the UK oil here. Right? US, UK. You can see that the difference is small. They still move the same way, but the UK oil spikes a little bit higher. Right? So watch this move, right? This from the bottom, it climbed 2%, and UK oil, well, you gotta click on it first. Where are you going? There we go. And this from the bottom, it climbed 2.6%. So UK oil has sharper moves. And I learned a little bit of information as well, that UK oil, it's actually the cleaner oil, right? That's why it costs $100 per barrel, whereas US oils, you can see it's 92.96. This one is a little dirtier, takes more effort to refine, so that is why the price difference of those two products. But we've been doing the US oil chart, so let's continue, right? Like XTI, it is essentially the same thing. So we'll switch to the daily. This is what I see short term to happen. Okay, so it's been in between these lines for approximately a month. All right, so you can see August 2nd, that's when it popped in, and wicks were testing, and now it kind of pulled back in. So I'm expecting just a bit of a drop, and to this institutional, like, look at this. This is a perfect setup, right? If we go on the 1 hour, look at the candle pattern that we have here. That's a morning star. Okay, so what I'd be looking for off the 4 hour is an entry here, right? Just off the right here. And I mean, I do not expect to go all the way to the bottom. So I mean, $3 honestly for oil is pretty reasonable for a stop loss. Like, as you can see, it kind of fluctuates pretty strongly. However, this is what I'm expecting for it to go, right? So all the way up, and this is going to be a very long trade, and we're going to look at it, you know, past October. Like, we're talking maybe middle to end of December. All right, so that is going to be my trade idea for oil. Let's see if it pans out. Overall, I know it's going to be climbing. It's just the entry is what I want. Right, that is going to be the nice thing to smack. So that's what I'm going to be looking for right here. And if it doesn't hit, right, then I'll be looking at EMA shifts with a pretty reasonable stop loss as well, right? Even this one, like, I could make it a little bit tighter right here in this candle. Okay, so, you know, just like that and like that. You know, and then to 88 from 93, I mean, that's entirely possible to happen in a week. Honestly, I don't even think that may be the case. Like, if we're talking, like, this is the other potential zone that it could retrace to, right? Just that top of the area, right? Somewhere around, anyway. Entries are typically good somewhere around there. So if it doesn't smack my entry, then I'm looking for an EMA shift on the 1 hour, somewhere in that zone or just above it. So that's kind of my plan for oil. And silver and gold I quickly drew up too, because they had a very nice retracement. I did it on my long-term chart, unfortunately. So we'll see it on this one. Okay, so here it is. This is the 618 with volume right there, and I believe that this could potentially be the bottom of silver before it starts to climb, and gold is similar spot. It's just a little bit higher, right? So gold between 1550 and 1450, around that area. That's where I'm expecting it to go before a nice reversal that's going to be a few months in the making. Yeah, even this, like this candle pattern right here, this giant engulfing candle tells me that it does want to drop. So in the short term, we definitely could be seeing $200 to $300 decrease. So yeah, that pretty much concludes Forex and oil and gold. I'm not really interested in Bitcoin. Like I said, I had that trade idea, but it didn't pan out because it just did pull up high enough. I expected it to pull up kind of around the 27,000 mark, and just didn't make it. So yeah, that's it, guys. That concludes Forex. See you in the next video.